such a potent pick. BLG, I mean, they've not even been playing towards carry junglers, right? It's been Maokai both games so far. That is open and available, whether or not Wei wants to go in that direction again against the Lillia, but things like the Tristana are available, the Zeri. Corki again, has enjoyed that both games so far. Oh, wow.
This is a very different style then. Kennen locked in to Finn. Blind pick Kennen. So, I don't think Kennen blind pick is a good thing. I think that you can counter pick this. However, when Bin is dumpstering Breathe this hard, I don't think it matters. Breathe, what's he going to go for now? I mean, typically you can see stuff like the Cassante and say, oh well, I'll just survive the lane matchup and try and get good team fights. You can occasionally get solo kill pressure, but the way that you counter the Kennen is typically by actually playing ADC's top lane and stuff like that. Mirwin over in the LEC showed us how to do that one just the other day versus G2 Esports. What do Weibo wants to do? Big team fight set up for that Kennen with the Maokai 2 is already quite concerning, even with just 2 picks locked in with BLG.
I mean, when he's blind picking Kennen in the top side, that's how you know he's confident in a matchup, isn't it? He's just exuding confidence in this draft already. Xiaohu goes for a Tristana, so a bit of a different look from the previous drafts where he's been playing on that Zeri, but the Zeri, to be honest, hasn't really been feeling like it's enough. So the Tristana and the Ezreal come through instead, and Knight is like, well, just because you don't want the Zeri doesn't mean Zeri's not a good pick. Might well lock that in for himself.
Make a lot of sense. It's just a big power pick in mid lane. LPL mid laners love Zeri, and they are very good at the Zeri. We've seen Rookie do magic on it. We've seen Xiaohu do it as well. But you know, Knight, he has his options available to him. Sees that Tristana says, "Oh, what's that one matchup we've been playing this whole time? Oh, it's just Tristana Corki. Oh, I haven't played that for a while. Let's do it again for like the 70th time."
I mean, Knight just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. He'd already got 10 games on Corki before this series started. He was on an 80% win rate. He's got 2 more wins in that pocket. I mean, he's just loving the pick. I mean, look, when you can influence games the way he can on the pick, why not?
I know, but I'm tired, Joe. I'm tired seeing my mid lane role.
I'll tell you what, you go back to bed, I'll take this one. Because I'm enjoying this. I don't care what they pick, I love watching BLG take over games.
That's, you know what? Wait, just because it's Xiaohu and Knight, I guess I'll stick around for this one. So we're gonna sell some different bans coming through now. Is Weibo trying to ban out some of the more kill lane bot lanes that Elkanon can play out? They did ban out the Kai'Sa and the Kalista the last time they locked in the Ezreal and left BLG's 80 carry through to those later drafts. Whereas on the other side for BLG banning out that Leona. Still probably want to ban out something a bit more engaging. They ban out the Braum instead. Could have maybe got rid of something like the Rell or the Alistar too, because Weibo don't have the best engage right now.
They certainly don't. They'll probably be looking towards that later on into the draft. We have seen some like full disengage comps across the course of the split, especially top esports like in the Braum for that sort of role, for the Cassante in that mix as well. Weibo just going to ban away the 80 carries that will give Ezreal a hard time. What will Elk go for now? I mean, the Ziggs is still technically available. You do have a Kennen on the top side, so I'm not sure you really need a Ziggs.
Yeah, and I think you could do whatever you want. Now, what they might do is lock in Rell here and then choose their AD carry for the last pick, because now what they can do is they can go towards the Ziggs and just play really chill bot lane for a little bit if the early lane basically want, depending on what happens on the top side now. So Weibo, they're going to lock in support and they're going to lock in top lane. If this is a particularly nasty top lane matchup where Wei wants to path towards it, maybe Elk goes to something a bit more defensive. If it's something a bit more chill like a Cassante, maybe we see them go towards a bit more of a kill lane towards them instead. So let's see what that top lane matchup is. They also have to look in that support.
It's possible it's something like a Jhin as well, honestly, from Elk on this one. Like it's something he's perfectly happy playing, and you've got plenty of damage elsewhere in the composition, so that's certainly not a concern for you. See what the direction is he ends up going. And now for that top lane pick, that fated answer to the Kennen. Breathe hovering a jayce for now.
So, jayce locked in. So, you have jayce, you have lillia. They're both really strong early fighters on this top side. And now, actually, you do probably want to go towards something like a Jhin or that, well, that Ziggs. You called it there. You got that Jhin coming through. What it allows you to do is to play safely with that Jhin alone in bot side, and the Rell can go roaming elsewhere. And also means that Wei doesn't have to path towards this lane. They can get themselves some strong CV2s when you have the Jhin locking the Alistar down with the W and then the extra engage comes through. I think BLG and Weibo, they are now both going to be really all eyes towards top lane, trying to see if they can get one of their top laners ahead. Top Esports tried to do this versus BLG in their series earlier in Summer Split. It was absolutely explosive. Both teams back then were just continually pathing towards that, and I see no reason to see a difference in this one. Ola carried a game with the jayce yesterday, but against Bin on Kennen, I don't know. It's a lot of lane domination you got to make your way through.
And hilariously, Kennen is Bin's most.
Time these teams faced off in a best of 5. Weibo knocked BLG out of 2023 Worlds. We've waited a heck of a long time to see them back again in a best of 5 setting. This one has been all BLG. Weibo have kept us waiting.
Oh no. The Gyos come in. And the sound of First Blood rings through the arena. Weibo, they've done the impossible so many times. They made it to Worlds Finals against all odds. But here, in the upper bracket, BLG start things off with a First Blood onto Elk as well.
So what ends up happening there, for those of you wondering if Chris was just running it or not, this is a team mistake from Weibo. If you're playing around ranged versus ranged top laners, what often determines the early levels is who gets the control of those top lane brushes. They can auto-attack, drop back out of vision, get out of vision so you can't auto-attack them back, and also drop minion aggro. Chris went up towards top lane to try and help Breed's lane. Weibo needed to do that as a group or not at all. He dies there because the team were just a bit disrespectful, and BLG, they stacked more members there. So BLG early advantage does cost them that ignite on, which might affect the bot lane laning phase, but you have a long sword, so that's definitely going to help out more.
Breathe trying to trade heavily with Bin, but Bin with vision in both of these brushes. That's exactly what's going on that top side. We'll see how Breathe does in this matchup. He was the one picking the jayce to answer this Kennen. We've got to keep our eyes on that top lane after how the last game went as well. But I'm looking elsewhere on the map as well. Lillia versus Maokai is definitely Lillia favored in terms of the early clear. We'll see what Tarzan can get done in this early game.
Well, Tarzan couldn't go for the level 1 Raptor steal. That's really one of the most powerful points of Lillia versus, well, any jungle matchup. And in this one, it's one of the ways you can really get off the ground very early. He's not gone onto the other side of the rift. BLG with that level 1 on top side meant that they couldn't really stick around, especially with that early kill going down. So sadly for Tarzan, who has been, as we've said multiple times through this series, really the person who's been standing up strong versus BLG, doesn't exactly have the easiest time here.
Nice little trade in the mid lane there from Xiaohu, but it's at the cost of a minion wave. Look how far behind in CS he is so far. Knight doing a phenomenal job in the first couple of levels to really punish Xiaohu on this Tristana pick. We'll even grab that cannon as well. So I'm very happy with how this lane has started in the mid lane. Xiaohu, after, honestly, the start of the year was really, really rough for him. It felt like throughout summer he was coming back into his own, but here today against Knight, that has not been what we're seeing.
It's been a little bit sad in that mid lane matchup because Xiaohu against NIP was genuinely great. He was so good at absorbing power on pressure on those side lanes, and he's had a lot better time of things so far in Plat's way. Immediately pathing towards top side. We knew both junglers were heading towards top side. Here they come.
Tarzan's there as well. Breathe and Bin already sparring, and Breathe losing out the matchup's way just keeps Tarzan out of the mix. Breathe now low on HP as an engage on the bottom side. Chris tries to get onto Elk, but loses a lot of his own health in response. Exhaust on Elk will deny a lot of the answer, though.
On has his Ignite back in his back off cooldown, so have to keep an eye on that 2v2. Lower HP bars means those skill trades start to open up. Both junglers went towards top side. We knew that there was very likely to happen there, but nothing really happens. Both flashes surviving this top lane as well. Sticking around longer. This is the Ignite.
Big damage onto Crisp. He's going to go down. He tries to turn it and does exactly that. Light finds himself the kill first. And both AD carries surviving now as they continue to spar, but Light should have an advantage. No, the root comes in, and the barrier! Elk diffs Light in the bottom side, and now Tarzan moves into the top lane as well. Way, chunked, Breathe. He's trying to get onto Bin, who's just pushing the wave relentlessly, but he's pushed too far forwards, and now has to flash, has to lightning rush, somehow getting away with his life. The knockback is there, and Bin survives. Xiaohu's moved into the top side. The bomb is on both. Way will fall, and Bin has nowhere to go. Xiaohu moving up, so is Knight, but I think they're gonna be too late. Xiaohu, the target, has been just trying to dodge, but he goes down. Tarzan might just fall as well as Knight gets one in response. Breathe, flashing to safety, and engage from Crisp as Xiaohu knocked up to stop the follow-up. This is chaos as Knight gets out of vision. Breathe drops a one, tries to finish the kill, but he can't quite do it. And Xiaohu now chased down by Bin under the tower. They go and Breathe is responded to. On now looking for Crisp. What is going on?
10 kills, 5 minutes. It has been the bloodiest early game of the entire series, and we have been left waiting for that one. BLG walk away with a couple of extra kills. Okay, let's try and make some sense of this. Right, where do we start? Xiaohu, 2-0 and 1, is behind in that CS, but draws himself even there. Elk has 3 kills, by the way. That's probably the biggest story of this. Has that first blood, and then that 2v2 comes around here. But BLG aren't stopping. Remember, they are so good at improvising, so good at using these messy map states, and I don't think Breathe is getting any help here. He could get dope. It's a massive wave to lose if he dies.
Oh, this is brutal. Breathe still level 5. A TP immediately comes through from Xiaohu. And he will save his top laner, but he loses a wave or two in the mid lane for it. He's 20 CS down already. Tarzan trying to start a fight, but just gets engaged on himself. Bin trying to get into the mix, and Xiaohu gets damaged down, but Bin gets in the brush. Xiaohu finds the kill, finds the reset. Breathe dives in onto on, so does Xiaohu. They find the support, but Breathe's going to go down for it. And Knight is here to do the DPS, but with Chris coming in, Xiaohu should be able to carry. Way, the target for now, with the bomb on his head, but Xiaohu can't finish the job, and Knight's just DPSing down his opposite man. Xiaohu, 1 HP. But he's found Way again, and there's the twisted advance. Way survives. Crisp, level 3 true shot barrage right between the posts as Way goes down and Breathe re-enters the fray once again. This game is the best I've ever seen.
Okay, so last we said it was 10 kills in 5 minutes. We've just upped that even more. The ult coming through from Elk. Light has flash.
Fancy footwork. Oh, flash forced by Elk in the bottom lane. And now Knight is caught on the top side. Will the action ever end? Tarzan says no. 500 gold into his pocket.
Oh my god, there is nowhere on the Rift which hasn't been painted in a shade of red from the gore of the first few minutes of this game. Xiaohu, ridiculous amount of gold for the early game, but even he is behind Knight now. He also has 4 kills on the other side of this. This starts really with Xiaohu getting that early level 6, the first person there to hit it here on the top side of the map. Having the extra ability to have that buster shot come through is so huge. He also gets himself a red buff in this fight, which means he gets a huge amount of damage. The jump gets AoE damage down too. It gets massively, massively convoluted after this point. The red buff burn and the slow makes things very, very difficult. And what Way ends up doing is end up getting the fruit to make sure he has enough HP to survive the last few autos coming through. At least that means that Xiaohu can't kill him with a single auto and potentially get himself out to the top side of this play. That makes it somewhat even. It's really quite hard to tell who makes it out of this the best out of the two teams.
I think then Knight goes to the mid lane and Tarzan is able to punish it. Tarzan actually spotted by on here. I think at this point Knight should just be trying to leave, but they go for Crisp instead. Okay, they get the kill onto Crisp, and then he goes down. And now there's a Maelstrom in the top side, but 3 members of Weibo underneath the tower. They'll find a kill onto Bin. A bit of revenge for what Breathe's been dealing with this series.
Oh, we've got 2 kills a minute. We have over 2 kills a minute. I have never cast a game this bloody. Way wants to keep that going.
Oh,
another ult. Light has cleansed. He's just dead to rights.
He doesn't even use the cleanse. I think rightly so. He goes down and Elk grabs his 4th kill of the game, fully cosplaying Jhin.
Okay, so there is only one huge victor there in that play, and that is the Jhin again. He's getting himself so much gold, and this is a problem now. For the side of Weibo, they would have been okay dealing with this Jhin beforehand, not when they have this much gold. You don't really have a hyper tank. The Alistar has that for his duration of his ult. That's not going to be something you can rely on later into the game. Whereas I think for BLG, I think they can play disengage a lot easier. They do have the Maokai ult, they do have themselves the slicing Maelstrom, and particularly something like a Zhonya's coming through from mid later could make that very, very powerful. However, what Weibo do have now, in terms of, that's the negatives for Weibo. The positives for them, they have a huge poke threat in this Jayce. Jayce is going to go towards Eclipse, and if he gets enough gold, he will get himself towards stuff like the Muramana and the opportunity later. If you hit 3 items on Breathe in a good time point, I think that maybe the poke could win out for Weibo if they play around Breathe well enough.
And again, in the draft, we said a lot of this is going to be on Breathe. He's got that answer. Let's see if he can turn it into a win for himself. I mean, honestly, I just need a second to figure out what on earth is going on in this game. Usually, you have all the time in the world in a League of Legends early game to figure out what the win cons are, where you're at in the game. This has just been so chaotic, and Light is going to get dived again.
Light might just die again. Yeah, he's got himself an E, he has a cleanse, he uses it. I think, buddy, he might just be dead.
Fourth shot is just so much damage at this point. Elk, one more auto, does the job. 5 kills for BLG's AD carry. And that might just be the first tower of the game going down as well at this rate. I mean, how often do you see a Jhin lane finishing off the first tower of the game this early in the game? I mean, it's just unheard of.
No, this is a Caitlyn thing to do. Jhin is not the best tower taker. He's better than he was. This is, oh wait, does Ben even spot this coming? He does just about dodge that, and that bowling ball as Tarzan was on vision. I mean, he might just die anyway. There's an ult from Tarzan.
Slicing Maelstrom available, immediately drops that, clears the wave. Tarzan underneath the tower and does take a chunk. Honestly, Bin kind of won that trade. The TP comes through from Knight as well. As Light, I mean, 30 CS down. Why are we looking at this brush?
That's a great question. Maybe because we shouldn't look Light directly in the eyes. Maybe he's struggling with that right now. It's like just going like scratch the back of the head.
I feel like they were really highlighting that brush, but I'm not entirely sure why, to be honest.
Like, oh yeah, because I was wondering if the Spectre was like, oh, there's a ward here, because it feels like the kind of game where there should be a ward. Look, if there was going to be a game where someone teleports at 11 minutes behind Light in that situation from that brush, it would be this one.
It certainly would.
I'm not gonna lie, Joe. Been a bit hard making sense of this one.
Yeah.
We have a ridiculous amount of kills. I feel like in games where there are ridiculous amounts of kills and people have spiked gold, I think that favors these two teams the most out of any teams in the LPL. They are our improvisers. They are our absurdist artists of League of Legends every so often. And I think with BLG getting themselves the denial of BLG getting those 6 grubs as well, taking them away here, that's going to be another big milestone in this game.
And I have to say, this is one of those games where I know a lot of people not fans of this Jhin build. Oh, Sleep comes out from Tarzan, really committing onto Bin here. Don't know if he can finish the job. The Rocket Belt dodges the slow from the Swirl Seed. Tarzan will be left empty-handed. Breathe, however, will grab himself some tower plays. Elk with some very controversial positioning here. Doing a Huanfeng with the Jhin flank, but I don't know if it's going to work out for him. Look at the damage out from Breathe and from Tarzan. True shot barrage to finish the job. Why were you there, Elk? Wei now wants to answer, and Bin will be the one to grab the gold. Breathe, stuck in the back of the pit, has that flash available, but Wei has his own flash if he wants to try and close the gap. There is no tower for Breathe to run to. Slicing Maelstrom comes into play, and Breathe will go down. How the hell is that a positive play for BLG?
And how are we still almost on track for 2 kills a minute? These teams are just using, again, always another teleport, always another way to make a play. BLG, Weibo, they are just the teams which somehow find something deeper in the pocket. We're still within 2,000 gold. Weibo will make it a little bit closer too, with that plate being taken on top side. They are yet to take a turret though, and that is going to be a bit of an issue, because BLG, when they're looking to make these huge, crazy, decisive plays, having that extra positioning on the map where they can push in a wave in bot side and make sure that Weibo are losing a wave to an inner turret, because you can't sit at that inner turret. You have to be somewhere else on the map. That's going to be huge. Weibo, this has been a problem the whole series. They are just a step behind BLG, and they're always losing something else in the cross map.
Knight will be able to grab a second plate in that top lane, so a lot more plates for Weibo to start with, aside from that, obviously, tower in the bottom side. Crisp, fourth shot does a lot. Okay, yeah. Crisp using that unbreakable will, rightly so. There's Bin now trying to threaten in the mid lane. Light's got to be cautious. Slicing Maelstrom on cooldown for now, but it's not that long till it comes back up.
Big note as well, he's not versus a Cassante this game, which means that Bin can go towards a Protobal. This is Bursty Cannon, folks. This is not going to be the slower burner that Leandri's. If you are not in position to use that exhaust well from Chris, Bin is going to end your game. BLG get themselves another play on top. Well, no, not another play, because it's past 14 minutes. You know what? Quite hard to keep track of the timer as well in this one. Breathe gets himself a turret. That's a nice start, but Harold is going to go down to the side of BLG.
Honestly, I just love the LPL. This is my kind of League
Yeah,
of Legends
me too.
right here. I don't care about quality. I care about action. I care about just watching bangers. I mean, I do care about quality, but this is quality action right here. This is the best of both worlds. There's a threat onto the mid lane from Weibo. Bin slicing Maelstrom, looking for Crisp here. No unbreakable will from the previous play. And Crisp goes down, but it's a trade. Both supports as like junked by Knight, who flies into the mix. Tarzan stunned, but skips away. And Breathe finally gets his chance. Elk down for the second time, and Breathe has gone too far to make it happen. Xiaohu trying to follow up, as is Tarzan. Health bars blinking on both sides of the fight.
Wait, hang on. That play was saved from BLG by the big Raptor.
Wait,
the big Raptor. Xiaohu dies as another one goes down. Light flashing forward for some reason. Can he catch Bin? He can.
Yes, he can. Light punishes. Bin oversteps and Light finds his angle. Everybody on the scoreboard has a bunch of kills. Everyone.
We are 15 minutes into the game, and we have 30 kills still. 30 kills, still on track for 2 kills a minute. I have no idea how many of these fights we're even going to be able to recap because they're happening too frequently. Like, when we go forward, where do we even start? That's all right, it's towards the start of this one. Happened just in the mid lane. Chris didn't have that ultimate from that fourth shot. I want you to watch what happens when Breathe comes in the back here, because I genuinely think the big Raptor saves this team fight for BLG. So, you get the sleep coming down initially through from Tarzan after this point as Bin tries to clear out the way. Watch this. El gets hit here. He's not running a cleanse. He ends up going for this. Breathe fires the shock blast, and it hits the Raptor. He doesn't get the clean kill onto Elk. Elk then ends up at least turning around for a little bit of extra damage, and Breathe is delayed. It means he doesn't get the clean kill, and it means that BLG can actually turn around way more damage than I thought they should be able to.
Outplayed by the jungle itself. Half the way spent so much time in that top lane as well. It feels like all kinds of jungles are against Breathe in this one. 17 to 13 at the 16-minute mark. It's 3 towers taken down by BLG as they use the Herald in the mid lane. They got the first Drake as well, and the next one just spawning onto the map. Now you see Wei moving over.
We should probably talk about win conditions at some point.
Yeah.
It's been really hard to think about that so far. Right. We did talk a little bit earlier. Breathe, if he reaches 3 items on a good time, and could be a problem for BLG. I think particularly once he gets that Muramana transformed and then he gets himself the opportunity, he becomes a huge poke beast. Yeah, if you're dying on side lanes like this, that's a problem though. That's going to set his time attack a little bit more, and it's just another kill on the pile of this game.
It's brutal to see. Breathe. That's his 5th death of the game. He has got 4 kills and 4 assists though, so not as egregious as that sounds. Root comes through onto Crisp. Tarzan really trying to get that damage down, but with the Magnustorm, he's just pulled in. And Knight free firing for the entire time. Finishes too, and Xiaohu's next. Knight takes them to pieces. BLG own this rift.
Knight mounts up and lances himself into the enemy backline. He even flashes the Ezreal up point blank. Very rare to see that one happen. Knight, we have criticized him so much for AD carry play. We've criticized him so much for Corki play. And yet, here he is, 2K up, 9, 2, and 4. Playoffs has brought BLG to life, and sadly for Weibo, it is very much at their expense.
This is a brutal series to watch if you're a fan of Weibo, but if you're a fan of BLG, or just a fan of high-octane gameplay, then this is the game for you. Breathe caught out to start this whole sequence off, and then both teams try and respond. I feel like Tarzan kind of overcommits.
He does, because I think he realizes that Wei isn't here, and he's like, right, we have to go while the Maokai's not here. The Maokai could change everything. That doesn't mean you have the damage to do this. It doesn't mean you can get through the Rell. Tarzan doesn't get the game-changing ultimate here. He doesn't get the sleep through. Watch how Knight just keeps going forwards. And right here, flashes the Ezreal ult. That is not something you'll see every day.
Absolutely gorgeous game so far from Knight. Only 2 deaths in a game this chaotic is kind of impressive, honestly. As Red Buff secured a 4-man defense of the Red Buff here from Weibo just to keep their own buff.
That's what it takes. That's what it takes now. You need 4 people to defend your jungle camps. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. BLG, one of the biggest things that we've kept saying, so hopefully you cotton onto it out there, dear listener, is BLG are really good at improvising. They are really good at taking individual leads and changing the game with them. They are doing exactly the same thing again. They use the Maokai ult to make sure this tower's going to go down, and the Jhin ult just to add an insult to injury. Weibo might just get caught again.
And Light is found. He's gone instantly. BLG just eradicating. This isn't a war, this is pest control from BLG. Light steps up. I thought Jhin was the mosquito build, but it turns out it was Ezreal after all.
BLG very much the reapers of this game. Weibo exist because they allow it, and they shall end because they demand it. It has been all BLG all series, and Weibo, they're not done being punished yet.
Breathe is found. Elk with a fourth shot gets the movement speed and walks away. The mosquito build comes out on top after all. Knight found in the mid lane though. And there's an answer for Weibo. At least they get something, but they lost their tier 2 in the bottom side. Oh, Elk just gets out.
Wait, this might be a Baron start. I think Weibo are desperate enough for this. I think they're desperate enough for this. They kill Knight. There's no teleport on him. Problem is, folks, you still have a teleport, and Bin doesn't have that ultimate, but he's still a threat. Desperation Baron. This is the best move they have. Here comes that teleport.
TP from Bin to get into the top side of the play, and Weibo just instantly peel off. They realize that, I mean, it's not even an ult on the Kennen, actually. I feel like maybe they could have stuck around.
Yeah, but when he's still 6-4 with 2 items, and you don't have an exhaust. Look, yes, Kennen with ultimate 100% ends that play. Because it's Bin with this much gold too, I think he could also still end that play without it. Bin needs no such ultimate.
You know what, Weibo? I take it back. I too fear Bin.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you'd be right to do so. So, Swell Seed Sleep comes through, Tarzan commits the flash, they do kill Knight. I mean, if Knight teleports down there, that might even have been an in-hit push, so credit to Weibo for fighting about just there, but...
Did you see the shutdown?
What do you got for me?
921
how much was it?
gold? 921 gold for that kill. Xiaohu has just dropped the mid-gold gap by 1,000 off of that pick.
That is so funny. But the thing which is kind of hilarious is that Breathe was also about 2,000 gold ahead or 1,500 gold ahead at some point. Bin has also closed that by 1,000 at some point. When you get games as crazy as this, where again, we are still 2 kills a minute or just about, we're just under it now. You have so many people picking up such ridiculous amounts of gold. It is very easy for huge shutdowns to just kind of slip through the net and you not quite realize how much gold goes over to the other side and the item breakpoints which come back through. I think we're ready to fight again.
Speaking about breakpoints, we're past the double attack speed now. Elk has an infinity edge. Any criticisms of the damage of this build are soon to be forgotten because we're way past the early stages of it. BLG start Baron off. Elk still pushing in the mid lane, matching light for the time being as Crisp tries to get in and tries to get vision. Xiaohu pushing in a side lane for the time being. TP available for him, but BLG are just gonna take this Baron. Xiaohu is staying in the bottom lane. He wants to trade an inhibitor as Chris comes into the pit. Breathe trying to get in as well. Baron taken. Elk surviving on the bottom side. Maybe a fight. Xiaohu TP'd in as well. Tarzan caught. Elk walking away. Knight 1 HP, but still alive. Tarzan trying to close the gap as Way caught, and Breathe finds the kill, but it's traded. 1 for 1 now. As Tarzan just being sidestepped by Elk. Light still alive, but only 300. Baron for BLG. They lost the tower.
Just about dodge out on all the skill shots from Tarzan as well. If Tarzan tagged anyone important there, I think Weibo might have been able to run away with it. Folks, if you are not enjoying this kind of League of Legends, I do not know what to say to you. You only find this here at the LPL. Is it the cleanest? Absolutely not. Do I give a damn? Also, absolutely not. Weibo, they did give themselves a pretty decent fight there. I think it does bear mentioning too, we're 23 minutes in and there is of course a decent gold lead for BLG and they have that Baron. I still don't think this is unbeatable though in terms of a gold lead. Neither team has a hyper tank. Both teams have such ridiculous amounts of gold onto some of these carries that they can very much get through onto those important members. This game will now be about whether the very powerful Jayce and the big combos coming out from Lillia 2 can get onto these carries at the right points in time. I thought maybe Weibo could have done that. It's a fantastic combo from Chris. Chris was someone who's kind of been overlooked in this series because of all the other craziness happening. He has actually had a pretty okay series in his own right. It's just sadly against BLG and On playing the way they've been doing so far.
Oh,
now
no.
we're back to live. Tarzan's dying.
He's been the hero for Weibo, but caught out. And I think Xiaohu was a part of that play as well. We see a big play on the top side from BLG during the replay. They find 2, and that is going to be such a loss for Weibo. In fact, that might even be the game if anyone missteps.
It could always, I mean, they've got the rest of the Baron buff. They do have 5 people alive. We'll go to a replay of that. This is the danger of replays in a game like this. Someone could just randomly die. It's a jump forward. They didn't have everything, and it's a fight in live.
The only word to describe this game is carnage, and Crisp on the receiving end of it. Looking like Venom right now. As BLG take one inhibitor, they move towards the mid lane to turn it into 2. They won't finish the game just yet, but they are damn close at just 24 minutes on the clock. And wait, does want to finish the job, but Xiaohu manages to buffer it. Tarzan trying to get into the mix once more, but he's rooted, and that's the go signal for BLG. One more auto will finish the job. Tarzan knocked up and taken down. Xiaohu rocket jumps away, trying to keep this game alive. The 4th shot, so close to a kill, as Bin comes in on the bottom side and takes Weibo apart. Elk is one-shotting everyone, and Breathe, the man with the counter pick, in a 1v5, and he just doesn't have what it takes. BLG eradicate Weibo in the most entertaining game I've seen in years.
Do you feel it? Do you hear it out there? It is BLG, and the rest of the LPL just shudder a little. They shiver a little. They are back, the reigning champions of the LPL. Bilibili Gaming are on form and march ever onwards.
Top Esports and LNG are quaking in their boots watching this series. That'll be the other first best of 5 of the top 4. And whoever wins that has to go against this indomitable BLG. My goodness, Weibo looked fantastic in their previous series. They looked like a contender. BLG laugh at the mere prospect of a contender.
This is the best Bilibili Gaming have played the entirety of summer. We have had questions, I have had questions, I have criticized to no end this team and individual players, given what they have shown us throughout this team's recent era of strength and dominance. Today, I am speechless. This team, on an individual level, on a team level, they have turned up to the levels I did not expect to see them do in this place. I thought they might have to ramp up towards it after seeing how they played in the Ascension group, seeing how they played in the group stage just before that point. But honestly, if BLG are playing like this, I cannot wait to see them hit the Rift again. Now the question becomes, who fells